Welcome back to the Hannahcast YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving you my below-the-line Oscar predictions for November. These are going to be my last Oscar predictions until the day after Christmas, so stay tuned for that, because this is kind of it for a while, because I'm going to be doing a lot of other videos, including reacting to the Astra Award nominations tomorrow, Golden Globes predictions very soon after that. I'm going to be doing Critics' Choice predictions, and also reacting to the nominees for those ceremonies. I'm going to be covering Guild nominations that are going to be coming out, because there's actually going to be a lot of Guild nominations coming out even before the shortlists, so that's going to be exciting. And also for members only, I'm going to be covering the regional critics groups, Los Angeles, and pretty much just about as many of them as I can. And like you can see my schedule actually right here, this is going to be my upload schedule for December. It's going to be quite busy. And also for members, you're going to get other things like Oscar updates. We also have these emojis, member exclusive reviews that you vote on. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really would appreciate if you became a member, because you're going to get your bang for your buck, especially during award season. It's going to be big. So yeah, let's get on to my predictions. Alright, The Brutalist, I still have at number 1 right now. Honestly, I don't think my top 5 has changed, other than, swapping the order a bit. Like, I do have Maria a little bit above A Complete Unknown and The Girl with the Needle. Or maybe I put A Complete Unknown a little bit further above. Regardless, I think The Brutalist is winning. This movie, I think, is winning director, so I do want to give it some some wins. But, however, I'm wondering how much it can actually win, because the movie had a budget between $6 and $10 million, and right now I think I only have it winning director, cinematography, and score. So I'm wondering what else it can pull off, because I'm not gonna lie, I think I've taken Adrien Brody out of my top. I don't know why I said top. I took him out of the number 1 spot and put Timothée Chalamet up there, because A Complete Unknown has come out, the reviews have come out, and not the reviews, but the reactions, and they're saying Timmy could maybe win the Oscar, which, damn it, I really should not have caved and went with Adrien Brody, because Timothée Chalamet playing Bob Dylan just sounds like something the Oscars would do in terms of a win. And I've also seen a lot of other films since my last below the line predictions. I've seen Emilia Perez, I've seen Wicked, I've seen Conclave, I've seen Blitz, I've seen Saturday Night, I've seen Megalopolis, I've seen Kneecap. I think, Maria, it's getting in because Edward Lockman. I've seen, some people, apparently Next Best Picture, as a conglomerate, has Maria winning cinematography. I don't think that's happening, because, yes, Edward Lockman has been nominated a few times, but he's also not Roger Deakins. Roger Deakins is a cinematography legend. I mean, hell, he's been knighted at this point. Now he's been knighted. So it's he's kind of a really big deal. Whereas Edward Lockman, I mean, we're only kind of now really paying attention to him ever since, El Conde got nominated. So I don't think it's quite there yet. And also with Blade Runner 2049, yes, Roger Deakins was overdue, but let's face it, there's an argument to be made that Blade Runner 2049 was top 15 for Best Picture that year, because what was it? Denis Villeneuve got nominated for director at the BAFTAs, and keep in mind, this was before the jury, so they just really wanted to nominate Denis Villeneuve. And considering there's quite a bit of overlap between the BAFTAs and the Oscars, I'm just you could make an argument that Blade Runner 2049 was close to Best Picture. And so Maria, I don't think it has that kind of narrative. Maria is even by critics considered the worst of Pablo Larraín's famous women trilogy. So I don't think it quite has that. I think it will get nominated. I do think Maria will get nominated. I mean, good God, I've seen the trailer. It looks absolutely gorgeous. But I don't really buy it for a win if the film itself does not have enough passion. I don't think Roger Deakins would have won for Blade Runner 2049 if it had Maria level reviews. I don't think that would have happened. Blade Runner was one of the was considered one of the best films of that year. So yeah. And I've already started seeing some people shift to A Complete Unknown in cinematography, and I've been saying this because it's from the same cinematographer who did Trial of the Chicago 7, and people will try to say to me, that was a weak year. Trial of Chicago 7 only got nominated because it was a weak year. If it was that weak of a year, how come no one nominated it? No critics groups, no one nominated Trial until the ASC. Because the ASC could have done Tenet. They could have done I'm Thinking of Ending Things. They could have done First Cow. They could have done Da 5 Bloods. They could have done a lot of movies. And yet they didn't go for Trial of the Chicago 7. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, wait, no. Yeah. So, the ASC did do Trial of Chicago 7, I should say. Like, they could have done all those movies, and yet they went with Trial. That makes me think that they just like this guy. Like, the person who is doing the cinematography for a complete unknown, they just like that person. And then they like what they do. And also, unlike Trial of Chicago 7, this cinematography is a lot more baitier because it has Bob Dylan on stage with all these, like, lights on him and silhouettes. Like, just the kind of classic, music biopic cinematography you can imagine. And so, like, I think this is gonna get nominated. I think this is gonna be the film that no one wants is gonna get nominated, but it's gonna get in. And I'm putting in The Girl with the Needle because, like, again, you just look at the trailer and it's like, this makes sense for a cinematography nomination. Like, everything is just blocked very well, lit very well, it's in black and white. I mean, sure, this person does not have the same repertoire as, like, Edward Lockman, but no one knew who Lucas Zoll was when, Ida got nominated. And granted, you could also argue, well, Ida was probably winning Best International Feature, but even though I don't think The Girl with the Needle is going to win, I think it could very well get nominated. And even then, it doesn't quite matter if you're, like, going to win. Because, again, look at El Conde. But then one could argue, well, Edward Lockman. Sure, but also people were still not predicting Edward Lockman to get nominated. Like, even after ASC, people were still saying, well, Zone of Interest is going to get over El Conde easily. And look what happened. El Conde just got in. So I do feel like it does stand a chance. Number 6, I'm really looking up for Nosferatu, because that's another thing. The reactions for Nosferatu have come out, and people are raving about it. People are absolutely raving it. And God, the cinematography looks so good. And granted, at this point, the cinematographer has been nominated for an Oscar, but it was for a black and white film with The Lighthouse. But we'll have to see. Everything about the craft of Nosferatu looks really, really strong. And it, but again, it's weird. The horror, I still fear the horror bias, even though the craft at hand is kind of like everything the Oscars would go for. The cinematography does look gorgeous. The costumes do look amazing. The production design is huge. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, really. It's like, could they go for this? We'll have to see. And one could argue, well, there was, what was it? Bram Stoker's Dracula, but also, I would argue that was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and, like, that's, like, the Academy's bread and butter at that point. Like, he was not very far off from doing Godfather movies. And let's see, we have Grand Tour. That could also be a Girl with the Needle kind of moment, like, because the trailer for Grand Tour has some amazing cinematography. Nickel Boys, I don't know if I should put this in or not right now, because, like, when I'm looking at the trailer, it's not like the cinematography, is painting very, like, incredible images. It's really more so the narrative that, oh yeah, it's a first-person perspective film. And I'm wondering if the actual cinematographer's branch is going to bite on that, or if they're just going to see that, well, that's just kind of the narrative. That's not really the cinematography. So we'll have to see about that. Emilia Perez, people have this in their top 5. I've seen the film. I don't really see this film getting nominated for cinematography. I really don't. It's not that amazing. Like, the cinematography's not that amazing. I mean, during the song El Mal, yeah, it's pretty cool because the camera does move around really, really cool. But everywhere else, it's just kind of murky and not really pleasant to look at. And the camera movements are still not that dynamic. It's really only during the El Mal scene where the cinematography seems to stand out. And so I don't really buy that. And having seen Conclave, I still don't buy it, even though I do think it'll get like a couple precursors. Like, it could probably get Critics' Choice and BAFTA. But I don't really see it for Conclave, really. It's just kind of very standard cinematography. Like, all right, it gets the job done, but there's nothing really artistic about it. And the cinematographer's branch really likes the artsy stuff. Wicked's interesting because everyone's saying, no, don't nominate this for cinematography. And I don't think it will, but you could also argue the camera movements are very dynamic. It really is the colors that I'm thinking it's probably not going to get nominated for. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Joker Folie à Deux, it really should be in contention, but because people hate the movie so much, I feel like it's kind of dead. Although, like, I do want to see if it gets into ASC. If it gets in ASC, I'll probably put it in. Blitz. I've also seen Blitz. I don't think this is happening. Like, I was watching the movie. It's like, again, the cinematography is not that spectacular. I'd honestly be, like, especially since now it's come out, like, audiences don't really like this movie. Although then again, I was reading some audience reviews and a lot of them were talking about, like, oh, why does the main character have a biracial kid? Like, somehow implying that black people didn't exist during World War II in Britain. What? So I don't know if I really want to trust the audience reviews too much, but it's also not that spectacular of a film overall. It's just kind of okay. So I don't know. It does have the craft, but I don't know if anyone's really going to care about it. And also the cinematography just doesn't really, again, it's not the most spectacular thing in the world, so yeah. Furiosa. This does have some pretty cool camera movements, and obviously it is a very gorgeous looking film. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not willing to bite on it yet. Gladiator 2. I'm just kind of putting it in there to put it in there, but already for Best Picture, it's kind of dead. People don't really care about this movie other than like, oh, cool action movie. So it's not really a thing. And the substance, I would really only consider this if it was like getting like a big moment. But right now, I'm starting to wonder if it actually does have, if it actually is a big contender, because it really might not be in the grand scheme of things. Anyways, film editing. All right, Dune Part 2 is winning right now, but I will say Conclave right now I have at number 2 because the editing is very sharp in the film. It like because it is kind of a mystery, but not like a crime mystery, but it's more so, you know, a political mystery, and there's some very, very, like, good cuts, and, you know, it's a very well-paced movie as well, so Conclave maybe could happen, but I have Dune right now because if I have it winning sound, I want it to win editing as well in my predictions, but I don't know, I mean, like, you know, the last 2 years that hasn't really matched up with editing and sound, but at the same time, you could sort of see why, like, Everything Everywhere All at Once was like so showy in its editing that you couldn't really ignore it. And with the Zone of Interest winning sound, it's like, well, the sound was kind of the movie, and so I guess there was probably that aspect that led it to winning. Whereas Oppenheimer, they probably wanted to spread the love a bit, and because movies don't really win 8 Oscars these days, they really don't. So yeah, right now I'll have Dune in to win film editing. Emilia Perez. On one hand, this could be a contender for editing and sound, because it is a musical, and, you know, not only is it a musical, it's also like a big crime film with gunshots and gun explosions and stuff. So, if it weirdly wanted to win editing and sound, it maybe could, but I don't want to go on that right now. La Brulis is going to get nominated because I feel like it's just going to be a big contender overall. And then Sing Sing, I do have it winning Best Picture, so I will have it in film editing. But again, if Coda has showed us anything, it's that you don't need film editing to win Best Picture. But I do want to have it in there just in case, because there are some montages that could be in Sing Sing's favor. I am going to watch out for A Complete Unknown, though, because that could also sneak in, because it's like a musical biopic, and music biopics, I think, tend to do well in editing, especially when paired up with sound. So I do want to keep my eye out for that. Wicked, there's some very good editing in Wicked, but while I do think it's going to get in for, like, Critics' Choice and maybe even ACE, depending on if they put it in comedy or drama, I feel like it's gonna be like Barbie, where it doesn't ultimately get nominated for the Oscar, even though I would say Wicked definitely deserves to be. I mean, hell, In the Heights should have won film editing, but they everyone just gave up on that film. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Juror number 2, I'm still wanting to know what's going to happen with this movie when it gets on streaming and when award season starts happening, because I do feel like once people see Juror number 2, they will like nominate it in quite a few categories. And it is a... What's what I'm looking for? It is a courtroom drama, so it could get film editing. That does make sense. It just depends on how strong it is overall. Nora, I just currently don't see that right now. Again, I haven't seen the film yet, but I don't know. I'm just not sure if this is... Like, I do think it'll definitely get nominated for a few Oscars, but I don't think it's going to be like the big below-the-line contender that some people think it's going to be. Challengers, I mean, this would only really get in if it was, like, based on, like... The fact that, like, it would have to be, like, based purely on merit, because it's not really touching Best Picture right now. And so it would have to be, like, Tick, Tick, Boom or The Force Awakens. Maybe more so like The Force Awakens, because Tick, Tick, Boom was thought to be, like, a Best Picture contender. And The Force Awakens wasn't really doing it anywhere in terms of Best Picture. So it would have to be based purely on merit. The substance... Again, I can really only do that if it's in Best Picture. I mean, I do agree with what, you know, the Oscar experts said, where if the movie does get into Best Picture, it could win film editing and sound. It does make sense, but I only want to do that if I know it's getting into Best Picture. Saturday Night, again, like it deserves editing. The editing is so good in Saturday Night, but again, people don't really care about it that much, so I can't really do that. The Seed of the Sacred Fig, I don't know if it's going to be that strong in editing. I do think it's getting into Best Picture, but I don't know. I think it's going to be more like Drive My Car, where it gets, like, International Director, Screenplay, Picture, and that's kind of all it gets. We'll see, though. September 5, again, I only really want to consider if it's getting into Best Picture. Nickel Boys, same. And honestly, Room Next Door, I don't even know if this is going to be, like, a big editing contender. No, probably not. I don't know. But we'll have to see. Production design. Right now, I have Wicked winning. It is, like, good God, especially after seeing the film, it better win film editing. Film editing, production design. The sets are fucking huge in Wicked. It's like, honest to God, some of the most impressive production design I've ever seen in my life. Like, these are gigantic sets. It's I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And, like, I feel like it can win in a cakewalk if it's not for one thing, and we'll get to that thing later on. Brutalist, I was saying maybe it could win in. Who knows? Maybe if, like, Wicked runs out of steam, you know, like Barbie did, maybe the Brutalist can take it. We'll have to see. Dune Part 2, it's going to easily get nominated. It's probably not going to win, though. Gladiator 2, a very easy nomination. Don't think it's winning. And Maria. Why do I have Maria in here? Well, looking at the trailer, the sets are very impressive. And also, the production designer is Guy Hendricks Dias, and he did Passengers, which is, like, probably the biggest production design shock of a nomination ever. The one film I feel like could shake up this entire thing would be Beetlejuice. All right, I don't want to go on for too long for Beetlejuice, but I'll just kind of put the big text I have over here so that you can just pause it and read it as to why I think Beetlejuice, if it gets nominated, it's kind of unstoppable in terms of it winning. Because Tim Burton films, like, they break so many stats to where they just kind of become their own stat. It's kind of nuts. Like, no Tim Burton film that's gotten nominated in production design has ever lost. Alice in Wonderland beat Inception, which was a sweeper, and despite the fact that even though people didn't like Alice in Wonderland, whereas Beetlejuice, people actually do like this movie. It's a very good return to form for Tim Burton. And it has more, like, sets and production design than the first Beetlejuice, because people will try to say, well, the first one didn't get nominated, but this one just has more. Even the more contemporary sets are very, very cool to look at. So, yeah, I'm really, like, oh god, if Beetlejuice gets in, this will be, like, the debate of the century as to what's going to happen. Because Beetlejuice could steal that win. It could definitely steal that. But right now, I'll go with the safe pick, which is Maria. Now, one could probably ask me, why don't you have Blitz in here? Well, because I kind of have Blitz blanking everywhere else. And it's like, do I really want to say Blitz is only going to get nominated for production design? No. Like, usually you get nominated for more than one Oscar if you're in production design. Maria, I'm already expecting to get cinematography, costumes, lead actress. So, production design would make sense. So I don't really want to go with Blitz right now. Nosferatu, again, on paper, this makes sense. You look at the sets, and it's like, give it a nomination. But, however, it is a horror movie. It is a vampire horror movie. I don't really want to predict that quite yet. If it starts getting some steam, then yeah. But right now, I don't, obviously it's probably going to get nominated. Actually, would it get nominated for Fantasy Picture at the Art Directors Guild? Because Wicked's gonna do it, Dune's gonna do it, Beetlejuice is gonna do it, Furiosa's gonna do it, and so maybe Nosferatu does get that 5th slot at the ADG for fantasy film. But I guess what it comes down to is where does it get anything? Does it get anything else in terms of nominations? Does it get Critics' Choice or BAFTA? Even though, granted, you can get nominated for the Oscar for production design with only ADG like Napoleon did, but I want to hold off on that for a bit. Furiosa, again, makes sense, but I don't know. It's not really as visible. Although then again, I don't know. I do have this idea that I do feel like Furiosa is just not going to blanket the Oscars. But right now I have it in 3 categories, and I don't know. If they really wanted to go for it, they could do 4. I mean, after all, it is a sequel to a film that was nominated for Best Picture and won 6 Oscars, and people still really like Furiosa. So if they wanted to do production design nominations, they could. Conclave, I feel like it's too contemporary. Like, it might even get nominated everywhere. Like, it's probably going to get the Critics' Choice nomination. It's probably going to get the BAFTA nomination because it's British. And it's going to win contemporary production design at the Art Directors Guild. So it's going to seem like it's going to get nominated, but I don't buy it right now. It's just too contemporary. The Substance. Oh, man, this would be an inspired pick, but I don't think it's happening. And Joker Folie à Deux, again, it's if people didn't hate it so much, then maybe, but I don't know about that. Costume design. All right. This is another one where I feel like Wicked is winning. Honestly, even if it wins only 1 Oscar this year, it's going to be costume design. Like, even if it loses production design to Beetlejuice, unless somehow Beetlejuice wins costume design and gets nominated, which then again, maybe it could, because Colleen Atwood did the costumes, and Colleen Atwood has surprised before, like she won for Fantastic Beasts, and no one expected that. So we'll have to see, but right now I feel like Wicked is safe in costumes. It is like the most like costume extravaganza I've seen in a while. Like, they are amazing costumes. Dune, I think it's just safe for a nomination. Gladiator, yeah. Maria, yeah. Brutalist, I'm putting Brutalist in here in case it's like, a sort of like Oppenheimer or The Irishman, because it's such a big tech player overall, it just kind of gets nominated pretty much everywhere. But again, I do want to watch out for Beetlejuice, because I do think we might be sleeping on its nomination chances outside of just makeup. But if it does get nominated, there might be some chaos. Nosferatu, again, from the trailers and the pictures, it looks like it's worthy of a costume design nomination, but there's already so much competition as is. There's a vampire remake film. I don't want to go for that right now. Furiosa, again, maybe it did win the Oscar in this category, so I don't want to completely overdo it, but at the same time, again, 3 nominations as is. If you were getting 5 nominations without a Best Picture nomination, that'd be kind of nuts. And it's not even like Black Panther, where it made a ton of money because this one flopped, but at the same time, people like this more than Wakanda Forever, so we'll have to see. Joker, again, if people just didn't hate this movie, maybe, because the costumes are pretty cool, and also Mark Bridges isn't doing the costumes this time, so yeah. And Blitz, I've seen Blitz. The costumes don't really stand out to me that much. Not really. I don't really think it's happening for costumes. Again, I don't really think it's happening anywhere for it, but I don't know. I'm not really buying it right now. Makeup and hairstyling. Okay. Okay. The substance, right now I'll have as the winner, but because I'm wondering I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen with those shortlists. Because if it gets nominated, then I think it will probably win. But, however, let's look at it. Now that I've seen Emilia Perez, oh, watch out. Because if the substance does not win makeup, believe you me, if the substance is not nominated, or if it's just not winning, Emilia Perez is absolutely winning. Because now that I've seen the film, we do see Carla Sofia Gascon's character before she fully, transitioned, and the makeup on her is insane. She just looks like a completely different person altogether. It's absolutely nuts. It is astounding work. So watch out. Again, if the substance is just not happening, Emilia Perez will absolutely take it. It will absolutely win. Mark my words. Because, oh my god, the transformation is this is some of the coolest stuff I've seen in a while in terms of makeup. It's really fantastic work. Beetlejuice, this is where I feel like it will definitely get nominated. Although, again, this category might be the most stacked out of all of them. There's so much good competition here. My god. And I'm not even so sure if all these will get shortlisted, which makes me sad. Furiosa, I still think it'll get nominated. Watching the movie, it's there's just pretty much every character in this movie has prosthetics and makeup. It's kind of crazy. So I do think makeup is happening. And Sasquatch Sunset, it's again, all the characters are Bigfoot creatures. So, I could see that happening in terms of makeup. It's, especially if it's, because, Bleaker, and it's one of those movies where it's how I describe it. This is one of the categories where it genuinely does not matter how visible your film is, as long as, you have, big prosthetics and transformations, you can get nominated. So I'm watching out for that. A Different Man, I still have not gone around to see this movie yet. I've been really busy. But, again, maybe, but again, everything here just kind of seems a lot more big and large scale. Dune Part 2 I've actually taken out because the more I think about it, maybe the makeup branch will just kind of go, we've seen this before. They do have Austin Butler, but at the same time, he is just kind of the same species or whatever kind of creature he's supposed to be with the really pale skin and baldness and stuff. They did already have these guys in the first film. It's just that Austin Butler is one of them now. So I'm wondering if it's just going to be kind of that thing where it's all right, we've seen this before. It's nothing that new. So that's why I have it out right now. Red One. Why well, you're probably wondering, why in the world do you have Red One here? That stupid, Chris Evans, Dwayne Johnson movie. Look, apparently, is it Krampus that's in this movie? I saw a picture where I think Dwayne Johnson is fighting Krampus, and good God, the makeup on him looks really cool. This could probably get shortlisted. I don't think it's going to get nominated, but I think, the pure achievement alone is going to really impress the makeup branch. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think that, that's going to get shortlisted. Wicked, there's not really any prosthetics going on. There is some crazy hairstyling, which is why I do technically have it predicted for the shortlist. But I don't know. I don't think it's getting it nominated. But again, we'll have to see. On one hand, again, it does have hairstyling, but you could also argue it's more extravagant than Barbie's hairstyling. That is true, but they still prefer prosthetics over everything else. So we'll have to see about that. We'll have to see. Nosferatu, I know a lot of people have this in the predictions for, the top 5. I just don't. We already have one horror movie in here, and again, there's already a horror, there's already kind of a horror bias even in the makeup category, because we have not had a horror movie nominated since, what was it called? Since The Wolfman in 2010, and that was a long time ago. So I'm not quite ready to go with, Nosferatu right now. Unless, like, let's say, again, if it gets nominated at Critics' Choice, if it gets nominated, it's probably might get nominated at the Makeup Guild, and if it performs well at BAFTA, or even gets shortlisted at BAFTA, I'll be like, alright, maybe this could happen. But right now, I'm not quite ready to say Nosferatu yet. A Complete Unknown, again, I don't really think this is going to happen. It could maybe show up on the shortlist, but only because of, the hairstyling for Bob Dylan, but I don't think it would go anywhere further than that. The Apprentice, I do like the makeup in The Apprentice, and it's very subtle, but they do manage to slowly turn Sebastian Stan into Donald Trump. But however, I think the problem is, given how fearful everyone in Hollywood is over the upcoming Trump administration, I mean, good God. Like, look at what they did with actors on actors. Like, Sebastian Stan was going to do, like, an actors on actors thing, but no other actors wanted to talk about Trump with him. No one. I feel like everyone is so scared of Trump right now that they're just not gonna, the Apprentice is just gonna blank. Which is, it's stupid. Like, it's stupid that they're cowering like this, these fucking cowards. But I feel like that I feel like that's just, I feel like The Apprentice is just not gonna get nominated anywhere. And it sucks, because it really does deserve some nominations. Your Monster, this does have prosthetics, although again, I feel like the other films might be a little bit more notable. And Longlegs, especially now the competition has strengthened even further, I don't think it gets nominated. Even though the prosthetics are very, very good. Again, this is just a great year for makeup. Like, I don't even know, this probably wouldn't exactly be my top 5. I don't know, maybe. Would it? I don't know. Maybe. But this is just amazing competition. Like, as long as we just get a really good shortlist. Like, don't do any stupid shit where, like, you snub Guardians 3. That was ridiculous. I don't know why that happened, but yeah. Let's get a good makeup year. And then we get to visual effects. 3 of these are absolute locks. Dune, Planet of the Apes, Gladiator. Again, I feel like Furiosa is going to happen, guys. I feel like Furiosa is just going to happen in visual effects. People could probably, like, film Twitter can try to say, but the effects don't look good. And I was one of those people that initially complained when I saw the trailers. But the fact of the matter is, the trailers and all that were not finished. And when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay, fine. You can nominate this for visual effects. This is pretty impressive work. It's just that the overall film has a different aesthetic than Mad Max Fury Road. The first film was very rusty aesthetics, very locked off camera, whereas Furiosa is a lot more dynamic with its camera movement. Everything is kind of shinier and more chrome. But overall, the effects are still just very, very impressive. It's still very impressive. So I think Furiosa will get nominated, and people are going to go, well, it flopped, but I'm like, okay, well, let's look at the other flops that got nominated for visual effects. The Creator, I don't think Napoleon did very well. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go beyond COVID. Solo, A Star Wars Story, that flopped. Deepwater Horizon, I think, holds the record for, like, the biggest flop ever made. Actually, no, The Marvels is now that now, but Deepwater Horizon was, like, a big flop. The Lone Ranger was a flop. Kubo and the Two Strings was a flop. Blade Runner 2049 was a flop. Actually, no, Kong Skull Island did pretty well at the box office. But still, the Oscars will nominate flops for visual effects. Like, the fact that Furiosa flopped, that's nothing to me for visual effects. Absolutely nothing. Especially considering people like Furiosa a lot more than some of the movies I mentioned. It's going to be fine. It'll be fine in visual effects. That 5th slot, though, is kind of interesting, because I've now gone towards Wicked for now, but there is a chance it might not get nominated. I don't know. It's strange. Having seen Wicked, it's at this point, I think it's kind of a coin flip as to whether or not it gets nominated. It either could or couldn't. Because I've seen people say, well, I mean, they don't always nominate Best Picture films. Look at Black Panther. I'm like, don't compare this to Black Panther. Black Panther is like a completely different thing altogether. Because Black Panther actively had awful visual effects. The effects were genuinely terrible in that film. Wicked doesn't really have terrible visual effects. They're very good, but I'm wondering if it's enough. I'm wondering if it's going to be enough for the visual effects branch. Because they could just settle for it. Like, how they settled for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So they might just settle for Wicked. Like, because, yeah, obviously, I know when something is CG, but at the same time, it's like, well, you kind of have to have, if you're going to have, like, winged monkeys, you kind of have to make those CG. So, or at least with today, at least. So, I'm gonna, like, right now, I'll probably have Wicked at number, I only have, because here's the thing. If it gets nominated, then Wicked is not number 5, it's number 2 for the win. People are going to call me crazy, but if it's in Best Picture, it inherently has a greater advantage than anything else. And I'm getting a little bit worried, because what if they go for Wicked over Dune? And I'm like, no! But again, maybe I'm just Dune-dooming. Maybe I'm just Dune-dooming here, because Dune Part 2 really should be winning visual effects, even though Wicked is looking to maybe, actually, wait. Technically, I do have Dune winning more Oscars than Wicked, with visual effects, sound, and editing. Whereas Wicked, I only have it in production design and costume design. But oh boy, I'm kind of scared. So Wicked, it genuinely could or couldn't happen. We'll have to see. Rebel Moon Part 2. Again, watch out for this film. Watch out. The first Rebel Moon did not get nominated for visual effects. But the first one did also just did not deserve to be nominated. It just did not deserve it. So, whereas this film, the effects are a lot more cleaned up. And the third act is basically sort of like Star Wars meets All Quiet on the Western Front. It's pretty cool stuff. So, again, that could happen. Deadpool and Wolverine, it's weird. Marvel tends to get nominated, but I was watching this one episode of Visual Effects Artists React yesterday, and I'm thinking, maybe it still could happen, because the thing that made the visual effects artists in that episode really like go whoa was what Cassandra Nova, because like what her power is, and I'm pretty sure they show this in the trailers or whatnot, or you've seen clips. Like she uses her hand and like sticks it in people, but it's like kind of moves it around, like and like people's eyeballs will pop out a bit, and like just kind of it really kind of fuck around with the head. And apparently during those scenes, whenever she does that to someone, the face isn't like not the face, the head is entirely CG. And I just didn't know. It's like obviously, like I thought it was like maybe like displacement mapping, or I don't even know if I'm even saying that correctly. But I thought it was like maybe like a texture map that they're just kind of fiddling around with. But no, like the heads are just completely CG, and it's like really really cool stuff. So we haven't really seen that before. That's pretty impressive. And there's like little things throughout the film where it's like, okay, yeah, like they'll just have like completely CG takeovers and no one would really notice. So, to people saying that, oh, Deadpool Wolverine will never happen, it's like, don't count it out. It could. Deadpool really could happen, but again, it's very interesting, because it's like, it's not your typical MCU visual effects nominee. Like, they're usually a lot more large scale, whereas this film kind of feels a lot more grounded, but we'll have to see. I'm not ruling it out. Twisters, again, because the effect simulations in Twisters are so impressive, like there's like with the debris and the smoke and the dust, the water, like it's really really impressive, especially where they do this scene where it's around the end where it zooms out and we just sort of see like the clouds like forming in on themselves to stopping the hurricane or the twister, and it's like a flawless simulation. It's really, really good. So I am kind of keeping my eye out for that. And Mufasa the Lion King. The newest trailer looks better than some of the other trailers, but again, I'm kind of looking at these animals and it's like they're still emoting, they're still smiling. It doesn't look right. It still looks not as real as the first film, and I don't think they're going to go back to a film in visual effects if it just has worse effects than the first film. So I don't know, but we'll have to see about that. Other than that, I round out the short list with Better Man. Like, Better Man, sure, maybe that could happen. No, in terms of the short list, I should say, Better Man's not going to get nominated, because I'm looking at the trailer, and it's like, alright, I don't really buy this for a nomination, because the ape doesn't even look as real as, like, the one from Umbrella Academy, and other than that, like, like the other effects in the film just kind of look like Elvis visual effects, and I just don't really see Better Man happening. Not really. Again, I do feel like it'll get in the short list because the December release does matter, because historically December releases, if you're a December release, you tend to do well in visual effects, at least in the short list, because when they're making the short lists, they're making them around like late November, early December, so they haven't really seen most of or even any of the December releases yet. So because they haven't seen them, they'll put them in the short list, and they'll go, okay, this guarantees that we'll see the movie and a visual effects breakdown, because the visual effects breakdown is also going to be very important, because usually when you see visual effects breakdowns online, they're usually released around the time the movies come out on digital, but when something like, Better Man or Kraven the Hunter, whenever they come out on digital, it's going to be like well after nominations. So by putting them in the short list, they're basically guaranteed that they'll see the bake-off reel. And you can see that this has benefited films in the past, like, like 4 out of the 10 films in the shortlist last year were December releases. Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb got in the shortlist over Edge of Tomorrow. You have Cats getting in the shortlist, despite the fact that everyone complained about the visual effects in that movie. So I do feel like the December release does matter in terms of getting shortlisted, which is why I have Kraven the Hunter at number 11. And I only put it outside of it because I did put Wicked in. But man, if they really want to throw a curveball, maybe they could do that with Kraven. But because it is a big superhero film, it's coming out in December, so maybe. Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire, I'm kind of just putting it in there because, I don't know, maybe they'll have an outside shot. Alien Romulus, maybe. Here, I don't really think so, but we'll just see what happens. But overall, I think we have, honestly, I feel like the first 4 are locked, and that 5th slot is kind of ambiguous. We'll have to see what happens. But right now, it's looking to be very predictable. It's looking to be a very predictable year in visual effects. So, I wonder what could happen to, shake all this up. All right? Then we have sound. Dune, I feel like, is winning sound. Again, I want to have that sound editing combo. Although, Emilia Perez, I do want to look out for that. Furiosa, again, pretty safe as a sound nominee. Wicked, it's a musical. Musicals, really, if you're in a musical and in Best Picture, you get nominated for sound. You just get nominated for sound. And Wicked does have, obviously, yeah, the sound mixing is very good with the singing, but there's also some very good, sound design work. When The Wizard of Oz is, using, his little thing where, you see the big metal head that you see in the trailers and it starts speaking. There's some very good sound design and sound mixing work in that. So that does help it to stand out in sound. A Complete Unknown, especially if it's getting into Best Picture, I feel like it's going to be in sound. The Brutalist. Again, I want to look out for that, because maybe that could happen. And it's going to be a big contender. It's just kind of weird, because we have 3 music-based movies in sound, and I don't want to quite take out Furiosa right now. I don't really want to do that, especially since it seems like one of the more obvious kind of nominees. The Substance, oh man, again, if it's nominated for sound and editing, it might win, maybe. But right now, I don't want to quite do that for The Substance, even though the sound in The Substance is very, very penetrating and just kind of it sounds so weird. Let's see. Blitz, the sound work is very good in Blitz. I don't think it's, again, I feel like it's just going to be a weak contender overall. The Wild Robot, I'm kind of putting this in the shortlist in case it's a serious contender for Best Picture. Because if it gets nominated for Best Picture, it has to get sound. Every animated film nominated for Best Picture has gotten a sound nomination. So, especially considering this film, you're combining big, metal robotic sounds with action sounds and nature sounds. If they really wanted to go for this movie, they really could. So I'm kind of putting that in there. Gladiator 2. I think the buzz for Gladiator 2 is starting to die down, and I don't think it's going to get 4 nominations. Actually, no, it will get 4 nominations, but probably not 5. 5 might be too big for a film like this. Conclave, it does have some very subtle sound work in the film. Some very subtle, sound mixing and stuff. I don't quite think it's happening, though. but we'll have to see. A Quiet Place Day 1, A Quiet Place, the first one underperformed in sound. Like, it got sound editing, but not sound mixing. And the second film just didn't get nominated at all. I'm not really gonna consider Quiet Place Day 1, really. Civil War, Nickel Boys, Joker, Twisters, they're just kind of like outside shots right now. We'll have to see. But I'm not really thinking they're happening. Original score. Man, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of tough between The Brutalist and Emilia Perez. Because, like, on one hand, Emilia Perez is a musical in Best Picture, and like the musical aspect of it is original, so that would definitely make sense. But on the other hand, people are really thinking like, oh yeah, The Brutalist is very showy in its score. They actually did release 3 tracks from The Brutalist, and really only one of them kind of stuck out to me. And even then, it's like, I don't know. I'm really wondering what's going to happen there. Conclave, like that could happen. That might happen for a win, because like, it is all over the film. The Room Next Door, I have it in Best Picture, but even if I didn't, Alberto Iglesias does tend to get nominated for original score quite a bit, so we'll see. And Sing Sing, I feel like they're gonna have like a little Sing Sing party when the Oscar nominations roll out. Like, and plus there is always like a Best Picture surprise in original score. American Fiction, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I kind of want to go with mostly Best Picture nominees, but we'll have to see. Challengers, maybe, because of the movies that got nominated for the Grammy this year for, for, I think, music and visual medium or something like that. Basically, it's like their score award. Challengers was the only one nominated that's eligible for this year's Oscars. Because, like, they had, like, American Fiction, okay, but that was last year, and it did get nominated. What was it? Dune Part 2 got nominated this year, but as far as we know, that's ineligible from score. So I'm not quite ready to go. So like, I don't know. But Challengers, it was the only one nominated that could be eligible. And so I'm kind of wondering if that actually does happen, if Challengers actually does happen, but it's just not in Best Picture, and it's just kind of a recent trend where they're kind of going for Best Picture nominees, unless you're John Williams. So I don't know. Seed of the Sacred Fig, the score wasn't really that showy, so I'm not sure about that. Nickel Boys, Juror Number 2, I don't know. The Wild Robot, again, if Wild Robot is in Best Picture, it's going to get score or song. So watch out for that. Blitz, having watched Blitz, I mean, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be a very strong contender, really. And yeah, sure, one could say, well, I mean, if Dune Part 2 is ineligible, then, like, they're probably just gonna nominate Hans Zimmer anyway. I don't know what happened with my camera right here. But, so, like, I don't know if they'll quite do Blitz just because it's Hans Zimmer, because they've snubbed Hans Zimmer before, so I don't know. And Saturday Night, I don't know. If it was in Best Picture, definitely. But right now, it's not really looking good for Saturday Night. Even though the score is very, very good and it helps with the pacing of the film, I still won't say that it's going to get nominated right now. All right. And then we have Original Song. It's still same top 5, but I've switched the top 2. Having now seen the film, Mi Camino is easily going to win over El Mal. That's just easy. Easy. Because El Mal's kind of like this, like, rock ballad, like, like, whereas Mi Camino is a lot more, wait, hold on. Dang it, I missed the pictures, hold on. Okay, yeah, there we go. Like, Mi Camino is a lot more, like, slow paced, kind of, like, more romantic and stuff, whereas El Mal, like I said, is just, like the big show-stopping rock ballad. So I feel like because Mi Camino is, like, the more baity, song, I feel like that's gonna win. 688, let's just say it, Diane Warren, although I think, like, this song won one of the awards, like the Hollywood Music Awards or something like that. I don't think that's going to translate to the Oscar, though, because I don't think they line up with the Oscars that much. Piece by Piece, not a very good song, but I don't know, it probably might get nominated, who knows. And then Like a Bird from Sing Sing. Again, I do want to have like a little surprise in there. And I feel like you could nominate this. Forbidden Land from Better Man, that could maybe happen, sure. Harper and Will Go West, maybe, but I don't know, probably, I don't know. Kiss the Sky, if it's in Best Picture, then it probably would get nominated here. but only if it's in Best Picture. Why I'm Here from Shirley, it's probably going to get some precursors, but it's just kind of like another generic civil rights song. So, I don't know. Ain't No Love in Oklahoma. I would like it. I would like it if this got nominated. It's probably I could probably see it getting like Golden Globe and Critics' Choice, but right now, nope. Not thinking that. I always wanted a brother. I always wanted a brother. It sounds really stupid. This song really sounds dumb. But nah, I don't really see it. I don't really see it for Mufasa. We're back from Moana 2. I did listen to this. I'm like, it's not Lin-Manuel Miranda. Even though I just like dissed a Lin-Manuel Miranda song just now, but with Mufasa, it just kind of feels like Lin-Manuel Miranda was like a last minute announcement, because like they announced him doing the music like literally this year, like doing the songs this year. Whereas with Encanto, they like had like an entire, almost an entire year, maybe even more than that, when announcing him for Encanto. So I'm not, so it feels like they may have just rushed Lin-Manuel Miranda here. And again, we're back from Moana 2. Again, it's not that amazing. It's not Lin-Manuel Miranda, so probably not. Compress, Repress from Challengers. Even when I'm not, that should be the Wild Robot song getting in, but again, they just like Kiss the Sky more, and they're gonna push that more. Never Too Late from Elton John. Never Too Late. I don't know about that. Double Life from Despicable Me 4. Let's just say Piece by Piece doesn't, become a big thing. Maybe they could go for Double Life. I don't know. And then Folly Ado from Joker Folly Ado. I'm just kind of like, probably not. No. Animated feature. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about animated feature, because, oh my god. I don't think, okay, yeah. Wild Robot's winning. Easy. Alright. I don't think Inside Out 2 is number 2. I genuinely don't. Because the reviews have come out for Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and they are outstanding. Outstanding. It's kind of nuts. And I'm just thinking, if it, like, they're saying, oh yeah, it's like classic, Wallace and Gromit, like, it's back to what we love about Aardman. And let's face it, the Wallace and Gromit, franchise has won 4 Oscars as is. So, it, like, they really like Wallace and Gromit. And also, consider this, with these kind of reviews, there is a chance that Wallace and Gromit could win the BAFTA. And BAFTA can call some close races, like it did call Happy Feet. And I do want to see what the Golden Globes do as well. Because if Wallace and Gromit gets Golden Globe and BAFTA, well then I have to predict this for the win. I don't care what Wild Robot does anywhere else. The Golden Globe BAFTA combo is unbeatable. But Wallace and Gromit, my god, this could threaten the win. If Wild Robot is just not strong, like, if Wild Robot is pretty clearly not getting Best Picture, then watch out, because they could just see Wallace and Gromit and go, we want to nominate this. So I am keeping my eye out for that, because the thing is with Inside Out 2, the buzz has really kind of died on Inside Out 2. Like, it made a ton of money, and then everybody's just kind of not really talking about it anymore. It's not really had like a lasting impact on people. So yeah, I am really, it's very fascinating seeing this. And so I don't know. Inside Out 2, I don't think it's number 2 anymore. I don't think it's number 2. Flow and Memoir of a Snail, I think, are good for nominations. It's weird. It would be weird if we got this 5 out of 5. If this was, like, this has kind of been this has kind of been like the top 5 for a while now. And it's kind of like, Moana 2, I think I've heard that it's not really as good as the first one. So yeah, I guess like it's mostly social media reactions, not a lot of critic reactions, although some people are saying the soundtrack is not as good as the first one, like, at all. So, I don't know. I think Moana 2 is just going to be kind of kept out. And I know Moana will probably get like Golden Globe, PGA, and Critics' Choice, sure. But I feel like it's a lot more highbrow taste, and it's not gonna, I don't think this is gonna be like an Elemental situation, because they already have a Disney film here, so it's like they can go, okay, we already have Disney covered, so whatever, we don't have to do Moana 2. Look Back, I think this could probably get like a Globes nomination, and maybe even like an Annie nomination somewhere, but I don't know, they don't really do anime, the Oscars don't really do anime unless you're, Ghibli, and they've done a couple in the past, but they don't really do it a lot. Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. I am kind of looking out for that to see like what the reviews are for that, but I don't know. They just might not do that one. The Imaginary Chicken for Linda. Oh, I will say the the Academy has actually released their like I guess sort of animated film shortlist. And a couple of or at least the ones that were eligible, not really shortlist as much as eligible, and a couple of films are not eligible. The Most Precious of Cargoes and Orion in the Dark. So, like, wow. I was kind of like, wait, Orion in the Dark, like, that was kind of a big surprise that wasn't eligible. Maybe it didn't meet the release requirements. I'm not exactly sure, but, like, man, that's, wow. So we can just count that out, like, right now. And plus, I feel like, you know, Netflix already kind of has Wallace and Gromit, but then again, I don't know, they had Wendell and Wild and The Sea Beast. So it's like, maybe just people just did not really care about Orion in the Dark, like, at all. One of the films I am kind of surprised was eligible. The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, because I thought it was coming out next year, but I guess, like, it counts for release this year at the Oscars. So, okay. I don't think it's going to get nominated because, again, I feel like this competition is too stacked, and we don't really know what the critics' like full-on consensus is. It is pretty positive. It is very positive, but there's not like a Rotten Tomatoes meter. We don't really, hell, we don't even know like the scores a lot of the critics gave it. We know that IGN, I think, gave it like a 100, which is kind of big. But I want to see who else goes for it. Despicable Me 4, it would definitely get PGA. PGA would definitely nominate it. Kung Fu Panda 4, no. Transformers 1. This, would probably get nominated somewhere, but if they didn't even do if the Oscars didn't even do Ninja Turtles, then why would they do Transformers 1? They're not gonna do that. They don't like toys, in animated feature. Piece by Piece, again, it's too much of a documentary, and also a, you know, Lego movie, so it's like that's like poison for the Oscars. So yeah. And then the last category we're going to be talking about, I'm still not doing documentary feature because I feel like there's still some more information I want to get. But, however, Emilia Perez is winning. It's in Best Picture, so there we go. Seed of the Sacred Fig, I think it's getting the Best Picture, but even if it's not, it'll still be number 2 for International Feature. I'm Still Here, I think, is going to get nominated because I right now I have Fernanda Torres in Best Lead Actress, so I will go for her. The Girl with the Needle, I do think I'm going to predict this one. I do have it in cinematography, even though that's not the be-all or end-all, but I could see this getting nominated. How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies. I've seen the trailer for this, and it looks like a crowd pleaser. It kind of looks like a film that would be like a crowd pleaser. So maybe it could get nominated. And then looking at some of the others. Kneecap. I actually did see Kneecap. I had it predicted earlier, but now I'm just like, nope. Like, it is very good. Kneecap is very good. But the problem is that it is really, really zany and crazy. It's like a comedy. I don't know if the Oscars are going to like this one. It does have a good message. I do like, again, I think it's a very good movie, but I don't know. It's a little bit too out there. I don't know if the Oscars will touch it. Universal Language. Maybe I did see the trailer for this. It's like, all right, I could maybe see this happening. Vermiglio, Flow I'm looking out for because it is an animated feature, but it is kind of rare for movies to get nominated for animated feature and international film. Grand Tour, I'm also kind of looking out for this. From Ground Zero, Palestine. All right, this is a collection of like short films from directors, so it's basically an anthology film. I don't know if this gets in. I mean, there could be some passion from people, considering the war in Gaza, but, I'm not exactly sure about this. Because again, the Oscars just generally don't like, what's anthologies. They don't really like anthology films, but maybe like the importance could probably, push people to nominate it. But then again, I don't know. Like we're all like it's already a very divisive subject as is, and I'm kind of worried. Like, cause let's face it, Hollywood does not really like Palestine. They don't really like Palestine. And even though granted internationally people are kind of being more swayed, but it's really just the United States. So we'll have to see about that. We'll have to see. But yeah, Santosh, I'm looking out. Oh yeah, one of the ones that I think is not eligible. Let me look. Parthenope, I don't know if I pronounced that right. That's not eligible for the International Feature Oscar. So like, wow. I'm trying to look at what else will happen. Like what else were people predicting? I'm not exactly sure. Hold on. Pedro Paramo, I don't think that's eligible for the Oscar. So like, yeah. Also wait, April. Oh yeah, I don't think April's eligible either. At least none that I could think. So yeah, there's basically a few ineligibilities here. So, although granted, I don't think I really can thought of them that much, but yeah. So yeah, guys, those are my below the line Oscar predictions. Again, these are going to be my last predictions until late December, probably going to be the day after Christmas. So, because I'm going to be, because that'll be after the shortlists, the Critics' Choice Awards nominations, some Guild nominations, and even the, did I say Critics' Choice or Globes? Globes. The Globes I will also have that kind of knowledge. And we'll have a bunch of knowledge from critics groups, and that time it'll probably be all the categories just kind of scrunched up into one because we will have a lot more information. Let me pass the question off to you. What are your below the line Oscar predictions for November? I will still be doing Golden Globe predictions and Critics' Choice predictions. And again, there's going to be so much content. I would suggest that you guys become a member because you're going to get a lot of content over there when the critic circles start giving out their awards. And so, yeah, thank you so much for watching, and consider hitting that subscribe button, because if you don't, you're gonna get kneecapped.